Yeah, and I think, look, the purpose of innovation really is about remaining relevant, relevant to the environment that our organizations live in. So that's markets, it's industries, and we know that the faster the environment changes, the faster the organization needs to change in order to remain relevant. But sometimes faster isn't enough. In some cases, innovation doesn't necessarily need to be faster. Innovation needs to be deeper. Um, and I suppose what I mean by that is, in some cases, what we are doing, how the organization is being, isn't enough. That we have to revisit the very core of the organization. And that's about really challenging not only the ideology of the organization, challenging the way we think, the cognitive aspects, um, challenging the strategic aspects, how we create strategies, and political, how we assign resources. So when we're talking about innovation and we're talking about challenging the ideology, the cognitive aspects of the organization, the strategic aspects of the organization, the resource aspects, the political aspects of the organization, this is where innovation now meets transformation. Surface level innovation isn't enough. We have to really start thinking differently with different frames of reference. So I think there's different levels of innovation. Now, at the core, though, I think, is this concept of permission. If you don't give employees, you don't give teams, you don't give whatever permission to think differently, to do things differently, to be different, then you're not going to get transformation. It's as simple as that. All the systems in the world, all the processes in the world, all the tools in the world will not take you there. You may get some value out of them, but it's going to be limited. Okay, so we need to start with permission. Are we truly giving ourselves permission to think differently, to do things differently, to be different? Now, if you didn't want to scale, I suppose, the transformation, the innovation, and you want a 10x return, it's about really giving permission to those around us. Again, to think differently, to do differently, to be different. That's a 10x return. If you're looking for 100x, 1000x return, it's about giving permission to those that we serve to be different. Okay, and that's the idea of 1x, 10x, 100,000x. If you really want to scale innovation, then it isn't just about giving permission to ourselves, but to those around us and to the ecosystem beyond. And that really then is this idea that organizations as platforms. That when it comes to innovation, really, organizations need to provide the platform for people to innovate, to think differently, to do differently, to be different. So I think we have to start with permission. Are we truly giving permission? I think then if you feel the permission aspect is being addressed, then it's motivation. Are people really motivated and can see the value of being different? Okay, and I think we know there's models, that can support, I suppose, motivation within individuals and organizations. I'm thinking in terms of maybe the SCARF model from David Rock, where it's I suppose an acronym. S is really about status, C is certainty, A is autonomy, R is relatedness, F is fairness. So what in essence it says that if we want people to innovate, we need to give them a certain amount of autonomy, whereby we're allowing them to be different and that they understand how that relates to the bigger picture. and we give them a certain amount of recognition, status, and we don't take it back off them. We allow them to own the value they're creating and to get the recognition for that value. And so I think, look, this area is well researched. We know how we get individuals, teams to really buy into concepts, and very often it's intrinsic rather than extrinsic. It's feeding the intrinsic motivation. And I think then it's really about the ambition. Then also it's about permission, it's about motivation, and then really, I suppose, feeding ambition. And its ambition, I suppose, can happen at different levels. It could be the ambition of doing things better. On the other hand, it could also be about allowing people to question, well, what are the right things to do? And maybe it's even beyond that, allowing people to question, well, who decides what's right? And now again, we're far into the deeper type transformation, that challenging nearly the ideology, etc. So for me, they're the sort of key elements. In a way, they're very, very simple. It's about giving people permission, I suppose, motivating them, and ultimately about feeding their ambition, and not taking that back. And I think for me, if we get those pieces in place, then yes, the tools will make a difference, the techniques will make a difference, the systems will make a difference. But without those elements, then the tools, techniques, systems really will have a fairly, I think, limited impact on what organizations are trying to do.